Hi, my name's Alan, I'm from Fusion, and I'm chatting with James today about a passion we share together, and that's a spiritual awakening amongst students. This session we really want to dig deep on how do we create a devotional life. You know, students can be really busy, or there's loads of stuff going on. And how did it work out for you, James, and what would you say to students now?
When I was at university, I think something happened to me in encountering God when I was at university on my own in my room.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was sparked by things I was feeding myself.
Yeah.
In terms of just the books, stories, things I was reading about moves of God and revivals and things they're saying. The more I came across some of these stories, the more I was dissatisfied spiritually where I was. And what this led to was just sometimes I would just lock myself in my room and just pray for hours, just seeking God.
Yeah.
Because I was just so hungry to encounter God. I wasn't hungry for God I wasn't necessarily just praying so that God would, make me, give me a ministry, or I wasn't seeking God so that, I would be anointed, the next great preacher for the hour. I just wanted to encounter God in a fresh way. I wanted to know God. Because the more I read these stories, and if you look them up online, read some of the moves of God from, John Wesley, George Whitefield, and some of these moves of God, the awakenings, I'm impacted by how they walked with God. Jonathan Edwards, some of these stories, I was just so stirred. And I realized I needed to know God more.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know God. And the natural, the secondary consequence of that realization for me was I started to spend more time praying. I would spend time fasting.
Yeah.
I spend time just, mostly on the weekends sometimes actually. I just lock myself away and just have a whole, few hours just on my face before God, just crying out to God for more, seeking Him.
Yeah.
So for me, my passion right now in what I do, Prayer Storm, I see a lot of it was cultivated at university.
Wow, that's
amazing,
great.
actually.
Yeah.
And then actually from me seeking God in my room, I started to identify some of my friends that I thought may want to do the same.
Yeah.
So every now and again, we'll all get together and seek God. Sometimes we do it at night.
Yeah.
We just get together and there wasn't any agenda apart from, Lord, we just want to press more into your presence. We want to know you more. And we would do that. And I remember some incredible things happening. I was encountering God in those times.
So you read some autobiographies, you listened to the revivalists of the past, you thought, it's not just for then, it's for now.
It's for now.
What did you learn practically about how to implement maybe some of the inspiration that you got hold of?
Yes. Now, that's a great question, because we can all get excited for a moment. Go to a conference.
Sure.
Go to Fusion conference, Uprising, Soul Survivor, whatever conference you go to, get excited, on fire for God, passionate about things of God, and then after a few weeks, it dies down. And the way I like to look at it is, God lights a supernatural flame when we encounter His presence. He lights a supernatural flame in our hearts, but that flame requires natural maintenance.
Sure.
Desire without discipline dissipates. So it's like God cultivates, God stirs up desire in our hearts, but that desire needs to be cultivated via discipline. Otherwise, it's gonna
discipline. Surely not, James.
Yes, discipline.
Discipline. It's not legalistic.
No. See, that is the thing. It's amazing how in every other area of life we accept the idea of discipline as okay.
Students actually have to have some discipline, don't they, to study,
absolutely.
to pass the exam, if they want to be what they're going on to do.
Exactly.
It requires discipline.
Yes.
But when we get onto a spiritual life,
I don't know what the problem is. People's like, oh, it's the law. It's we're under the grace. People cry out legalistic, or you're being judgmental, or what's the word? You're being under the law.
Yeah.
When we talk about discipline, but actually, you look through history, look through the people who've done anything, look through the history of people who've done anything of significance for God, and you find that they were very focused and disciplined in their walk with God.
So there's a hunger, a desire, and then there's discipline. What does this discipline look like?
Okay. The way I would say this discipline works itself out is the consistency of seeking God on a regular basis. So I'd say you will pray probably, I don't know if this is accurate, but you will pray 10 times more this year if you put it in your diary that you want to pray at 5 in the morning, at 6 in the morning, at 7 in the morning. You set yourself a target, you set yourself a goal. Now, I'm not really going to say, okay, you're going to pray for an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours. The point is, you know where you are in your spiritual journey and how much time you can give right now. It might be you want to start with 30 minutes. Like, okay, well, I've got to wake up at 7. I've got to wake up at 8. Okay, well, Lord, I want to wake up 30 minutes earlier and I want to spend that time to pray. Listen, you pray 10 times more if you put that down as a goal. Because it's better to hit 100% of a goal. It's better to hit 80% of a target than 100% of zero targets.
That sounds like some sacrifice to me.
It does sound like sacrifice.
That sounds like I might not get as much sleep as I want.
Yes.
What's that about? Surely we're not meant to sacrifice.
Well,
isn't Jesus the ultimate sacrifice, James? What are you talking about?
Well, if a relationship means a lot to you, you're going to invest in it. Relationships that are only one-sided are not that deep. I mean, they're very shallow. If I only come to you when I want to get something from you, and that's only when I talk to you, that really says something about our level of relationship. When a relationship means a lot to both of us, it means it's not one-sided. And what that means is we both sacrifice for the purpose of communication. You might say, okay, James, I would like to meet you at 5 tomorrow. I'm like, okay, well, I can move this around so that we can meet, because this relationship is that important for me. When we compare what has been made available to us in communing with the God of the universe, we realize that actually what we think is sacrifice is actually nothing. However, to really walk with God, to really have a stronger prayer life, to really grow strong in your identity, your confidence, all these things is going to require an element of making time, sacrifice.
And I've seen something practical in my life around this. I recently did a marathon, and I had to train for it, and I had to put a lot of hours into training for this marathon. And I did the marathon, and it went well. And then afterwards, I got injured.
Oh, God.
And I learned that actually I hadn't disciplined myself in certain areas of the training, so some of my muscles weren't built up enough. So I managed to do the run, but some of the muscles weren't built up enough, because I thought, I can do without that. And I think that's something of a picture of your spiritual life. You can seem like you're doing really well, but actually you're going to get found out at one part or another. If those muscles are spiritual disciplines, and they're very hidden, they're muscles that in hidden places that you think, I won't need that, I can get through, I've got a great history with God, I can rely on yesteryear. But it doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work that way. You can't rely on yesterday's fire. You have to be living in the reality of today's fire and passion. You can't say, I was on fire for God last week, or day before yesterday, or at the conference I went to last month. There has to be a reality right now. That's what sustains us. So there's the discipline of making the time to pray, and then in that time when you set aside to pray, say it's 30 minutes or an hour, however long you feel you want to say, you need to realize that in that time there's a lot that you can create space for in encountering God. Now, we have so much available to us today in terms of resources, in terms of worship, music, there's so much out there. And for example, if you say to someone, I spend 3 hours praying, they're like, gosh, you must be some super spiritual giant. But really, it's not that hard to spend that kind of time praying. You think about the fact that worship is a part of prayer, by the way. The Lord's Prayer, the prayer we call the Lord's Prayer, that's actually the disciples' prayer. It says we pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. There is a sense of we're starting the process with worship. Starting the prayer with relationship, encounter. We're not just coming to God asking and asking and asking. There is a sense of we're coming to adore. We're coming to gaze upon Him. We're coming to just be with Him. Just like in natural relationships. There are times we talk, and it's not like I come to you with an agenda of, okay, when I meet Alan, I'm going to talk to A, B, C, D, D, D. I mean, it's not a business transaction. It's a relationship. There's a flow. So there's that sense of coming to go with that awareness.
Yeah.
And I think worship is one of the great ways to enter in
Yeah.
to the place of prayer. So, I mean, there are loads of resources out there. You can put on a worship set from a church service or from an event that's really ministered to you.
Yeah.
That's like 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and you could just sit there or lay on the floor or kneel down and just worship God.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do that for 30.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do that for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. In addition to that, you can spend time in the Word.
Yeah.
Spend time reading the Bible and meditate on the Bible. People say, how do you meditate? If you know how to worry, you know how to meditate.
And there's a lot of warriors out there, aren't there?
Absolutely.
So
it's not like worry the Word, like think on the Word.
yeah, very
Think
good.
through
Yeah.
what you're reading. And
Yeah.
by doing that, you may not read chunks of chapters a day,
Yeah.
but what you read actually goes deep.
Yeah.
Because you think it through, you pray it back to God, you talk
Yeah.
to God about what you're reading. And it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's just actually the desire and the discipline to actually do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's people find it hard to get to that place because there's so much pressure to stop you
Yeah,
from
yeah.
actually doing it. But when you start to do some of these things, and there's a lot more you can do in the place of prayer.
Yeah.
But when you start to do some of these things, it opens up. You start to enjoy the presence of God. You start to enjoy prayer.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more fun. Another thing I think is important when it comes to these times of prayer is not just having time to worship, having time in the Word. I think it's good to actually write things down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes a prayer journal. Now, I'm not so much personally given to writing a lot in my prayer times, but I know that makes a huge difference to many people.
Yeah.
Journaling, even writing down some of the things that God's been speaking to you about, or things you want to pray about.
Yeah.
And making space in your prayer time to pray through some things.
Yeah.
Maybe some actual issues.
Yeah.
Intercession, praying for
Yeah.
friends that
Yeah.
don't know Jesus. So making time to actually cover certain things in your prayer time.
Yeah.
And then, in addition to that, making time to just wait before God, making time to be still,
Yeah.
and listen to what God is saying. Now, some of the things we've just talked about there: worship, time in the Word, meditation, pray through some lists and things you want to speak
Yeah.
to God about, waiting on God. If you do all of that, I don't think 15 minutes is enough.
Yeah.
Did you
Hey, you tricked us, James. You tricked us.
To just spend that kind of time, you realize 15 minutes
Yeah.
is too short to spend time in worship,
Yeah.
to wait on God, spend time in the Word. And actually, you can do this.
Yeah.
It's not as hard as you think. You can spend an hour doing that.
Yeah.
And actually, it goes by so quickly because you end up engaging with God. And sometimes you can spend an hour just worshiping.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like all that time is gone, and you just enjoy the presence of God. And I'm telling you, this has a radical impact on your spirituality and your stamina, your confidence, your strength in God.
If you're a student or you're a student worker, a pastor, please like this, comment, share. We'd love to hear your perspective on prayer and how that's working in the campuses where you're at.